Hello, I'm Christopher Bayliss from Fastgrowth Online. Thank you for downloading this workbook entitled Raise the Finance for Your Fast Growth. A very important topic for any business leader who wants to achieve fast growth and grow his business. Today I'm joined by Tim Bentle of Tim Bentle LLP, and we're at the offices of Fastgrowth Services. This is where I live and work from. Tim, thank you for coming over to my offices and for sharing your expertise and experience in this crucial area. For the benefit of the viewers, Tim helped me co-create this particular workbook about 9 months ago, and we've tested this with a number of small and medium-sized companies with great success. Before we start, Tim, can you just briefly share with the viewer what you do at Tim Bentle LLP?
Yes, indeed. We specialise in providing strategic advice to owner-managed businesses with a particular focus on professional service firms.
And that's here in southern England?
That's here in the south of England, yes.
Yeah. And then prior to setting up this new business, you were at BDO Stoy Hayward, I believe. And what were you doing there?
Indeed. I was a partner and for 10 years managing partner of the firm that became BDO Stoy Hayward and then ultimately BDO, a national firm in the UK. So having both management responsibilities and a portfolio of clients, of owner-managed businesses.
And I guess many of those would have come to you at BDO's offices in Southampton with the issue of raising finance very much on their minds.
Indeed, it was always something that was at the underpinned their ability to grow.
What we're going to do today is two things. We're going to look at the context of why raising finance for your fast growth is so important, and then using the workbook, we're going to go through a couple of hints. Okay? Tim, why is raising finance so important for those companies that want to grow?
It's very difficult to, in my view, to grow a business without finance of some sort. It might be your own, but it's necessary to provide that sort of stimulus to fast growth, and fast growth is what we're talking about here. So most businesses at some stage, most businesses when they start up will need significant finance. A lot of businesses I find you'll see mapped with straight line growth. And most growth is not straight line, it's quite sort of undulating or a series of steps.
And also what I find is very much that people have got the attitude that there's no money, that we've had a very difficult recession here in the UK and around the world, and that the banks aren't lending, etc. But in fact, it's just the opposite. There is plenty of money around, but...
There's plenty of money around, but I think the issue in the last few years has been, is that money available? And it has been, but it's been more tightly controlled in terms of who it's been made available to. And that's no bad thing, I don't think. So raising finance is about, is always challenging, but this is what the focus of this book is actually, well, I think it's particularly helpful in helping people to organise their thoughts, to actually think about what it is that they want the finance for.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Tim, can I ask you to read the title page, please, of this workbook?
Certainly. This Fast Growth workbook is for you to raise the finance for your fast growth. The purpose of the workbook is for you to plan to raise additional finance to substantially grow your business. The 12-month goal is that through your plan, you raise the finance you need for your fast growth.
Makes sense. Okay, so if you could turn to page 1, Tim, and the viewers do the same, and it's entitled Sharpen Your Key Fast Growth Goals. Can you read the top of the page for me, please?
Over the next 1 to 2 years, what is your key fast growth goal for your company? E.g., successfully launch an online business generating 10% of annual sales. Make your goal bold yet measurable, and write your goal below in 8 to 12 words in the box provided.
and I'm a strong believer in goal setting, hugely important. Behind us we have this wonderful eagle. This is in my other office here, and can you just read what it says, Tim?
No one can predict to what heights you can soar. Even you will not know until you spread your wings.
And it certainly applies to the business. It says here an online business, so we're just creating this new business called Fastgrowth Online. Who knows how big it could be? And that's the image I'm getting across today. If you just read on, Tim.
Over the next 3 to 5 years, what is your key fast growth goal for your company? Make your goal bold yet measurable, and write your goal in 8 to 12 words in the box below.
And Tim, can you read now the second box, which is on page 1?
Over the next 3 to 5 years, and that's in contrast to the box above, which was the next 1 to 2 years. Over the next 3 to 5 years, what is your key fast growth goal for your company? Make your goal bold yet measurable, and write your goal below in 8 to 12 words. And the 3 to 5 years is something I think that is particularly important, Christopher, when you're looking at raising finance.
Definitely.
This is having your sights a bit further out than traditionally many businesses do.
Definitely. And it says that, doesn't it, at the bottom there? How will the achievement of these goals, both the 1 to 2 year goals and the 3 to 5 year goals, affect your need for additional finance? And the kind of finance you might need for that, for the top box, might be different to that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so that's hint number 1, set your goals. And to me, Tim, goal setting is very much like this elastic band. My little finger is the current reality. So this is the current business and current financing. My thumb is how stretching or how bold those goals are, both 1 to 2 years and 3 to 5 years. And if you set a goal that's like that, there's the future goal, there's current reality. There is some tension in that elastic band. But if you're really bold and really make it way outside current reality, that helps pull the current reality up.
Yeah.
I'm doing this very carefully because if I pull too hard, it'll snap the elastic band. I don't do that. So goal setting, whatever you're doing, most of the fast growth books.
We just take that analogy a bit further, because actually if you did snap the elastic band, then probably it's unrealistic in terms of a goal.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. So if you turn on to page 2, which is entitled What's Your Current Situation? And the 2 boxes that I think are really crucial for this, and you helped me co-create this, is get really clear about your purpose. In that box there, you are clear why you need additional finance, and secondly, the amount. You know how much finance you need. And to assess yourself on a scale 1 to 10, we're very fond of the scale 1 to 10 in fast growth workbooks. 1 is barely adequate, and 10 is outstanding to do that. And then from that, what's your key conclusion? Now, you've done this, I think, with a number of your clients subsequently.
I have, yes.
How's that gone for you?
It's gone very well, and I think spending time on this page is particularly important. And sometimes people will say to me, well, I need the finance for several different things. That's fine. I think, but as long as you're clear on what that purpose is, or those purposes are, and getting clarity around how much you need. Again, I get pushback quite understandably from people who say, well, I don't really know at this stage. That doesn't matter. Just estimate it, because you can always come back and revisit it later.
And that might be a different amount for the next 1 to 2 years. Indeed. Compared with 3 to 5 years. Indeed. Many fast growth customers will be on this continuum of improve the business, grow the business, and sell the business. And I guess the financing, the purpose for it, and the amount will change depending on where you are on that.
Absolutely, and that's why I think it's particularly important to break down that time, that time scale, because different funding may be needed at different stages. Definitely. Or you may have a stage where actually you don't need additional funding. Yep. But that's fine.
That's fine too. Okay, if you turn to page 4, Tim, this is where we co-created together and tested with a number of SME, small to medium-sized enterprises, clients, a number of options. And we divided those options into a number of categories. One was shorter time, lower risk. 2 was shorter time, higher risk, funding options, finance options. Number 3 was longer time, lower risk. And number 4 was longer time, higher risk. If you could just read the top of that page for us, please.
Yes, use the list below to identify your preferred options for the sources of additional finance available to you. Asterisk your 3 preferred potential options and write each of these options on a small post-it.
One of these here. Yeah. And that's 3 across. I think you've got about 30 there. 3 out of those 30. What the balance is, particularly once you're clear about the purpose and the amount. Yeah. Can you just read maybe 1 or 2 examples from each of those 4 categories for our viewer, please?
Yes, let's take the first one, shorter time, lower risk. And if I can just add a point here, Christopher, I think there are lots of different avenues for finance, but unless you're comfortable in terms of the risk involved with each one, then the chances are that at some stage in the process you'll come unstuck. So I think getting yourself thinking about risk as well as the timescale is quite important. And that's why we've grouped them in this way, isn't it? So in the first category, which is shorter time, lower risk. It's very common for the directors or the shareholders to provide their own finance. So you've got C there, 1C, loans from your directors. They could be longer term loans, or they could be short term ones. There could be the bottom one there, H, stage payments to suppliers. You can make the finance that you have already last a bit longer by changing the profile of the payments that you make to your suppliers. If we move into the second section, this is shorter time but higher risk. Then G is bank overdraft is a very common, obviously, way of raising finance, but the risk there is around the fact it's repayable on demand, and a lot of businesses, in my experience, forget that. Getting the overdraft in the first place is often a hurdle, but actually having it repayable instantly is not something everyone's comfortable with. Hence the higher risk. If we move into the third category, which is a longer time and lower risk. Government loans in the UK, and this is E, government loans in the UK, there are, and have been for some time, a number of government initiatives which provide money, particularly for technology startups, for example. That might be lower risk, but the time taken to obtain these loans is often much more long. The hurdles, the barriers in place are sometimes quite high.
And I guess that's true in other countries as well.
Yeah, indeed. And then if we take one from the last section, which is the longer time and higher risk. Venture capital investment, that's F. And we've put in brackets there typically the sort of range of funding that you need to be looking for before it's suitable for you to think about venture capital, is indeed high risk. And again, it takes a longer time to actually get the business organised in terms of the information that venture capitalists will look for before they're prepared to lend, or to invest, I should say.
Okay, for the benefit of our viewers from overseas, where it says item 2, shorter term, higher risk, halfway down, or K, HMRC is?
HM, that's Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs.
Okay. And then the final one, an AIM flotation, that's on the London AIM which is, I guess, other stock exchange would have the similar things to AIM.
Yes, it's a sort of a mini stock exchange.
The final hint is page 5. We're a great believer in Fastgrowth in his workbooks is create plans. So at the top of the page it says create your plan to raise the finance for your fast growth. Using the post-its you've used before, bring them forward to that page. What's your purpose for the additional finance? How much, it might be several purposes, how much you require, which is from that earlier page that we worked on, and then finally the potential finance option for this purpose. Very simple, and you just draw your own strategic conclusion. So you take something which seems like a huge problem, which seems like impossible to solve, and create a very clear little plan with the purpose, the amount, and the ideal option. And if you do that, and it'd be amazing what you could achieve.
It's the start, to me, and I found this is the start of a process for ordering your thoughts around what you need. And typically, when you start, it's a bit like going on holiday, I think, isn't it? You know, when you start off with thinking, well, we'll go on holiday, and you set your budget, you then actually start to break it down a bit more, and you look at the constituent parts of it, and you find actually that budget you had in mind was nowhere near enough. Because you can get there, but you can't get back, or you know, you haven't thought about the various trips that you want to do while you're away, and so on. So I think it's very much about looking at the whole thing, the longer time scale, and just starting to map out in your mind what you think the business will need, why it will need it, and when you'll need it, and then to start to look at some of the options that you could use to fit those needs.
Now you have an interesting visual aid, because we're going to close there. Would you like to share that with our viewer?
Yes, this is a little stack of money which obviously is well used, as you can possibly see, well thumbed.
It's not laundered, is it?
That's because it's probably been through someone's pocket in the washer, actually. But something from a game called Monopoly, which is one of my favourite games. But this is just money doesn't often come in hard cash like that, Christopher, and a bit like the game Monopoly. When you lose money, you lose it pretty quickly. When you gain it and you've got lots of it, the next thing is, well, what do you do with it? How do you invest it?
Loads of money.
Loads of money.
Tim, may I thank you again for coming to my offices to work on this video, and may I wish you every success with the exciting growth of your own company, Tim Bentle LLP.